Becoming Faye, Prologue. I've been thinking about how to begin telling my story for a while now, and the truth is, there isn't a perfect way to do that. It's going to be messy. So I'm just going to begin. Many of you know me through my astrology work and my connection to Karen and the Ask the SG's YouTube community. You've seen my readings. You've read the emails where I talk about what's happening in the sky and how it shows up in real life. Others know me through my Reiki practice or tarot and oracle readings. There's another part of my life that I've shared only in bits and pieces, through comments posted here and there. That's a much deeper and wider story that I've never told. That's what this blog is about. I'm beginning to tell my story. I was raised in the Deep South in an independent fundamental Baptist church. We eventually added the word evangelical to our name when we decided it was our job to evangelize the world for Christ. We were independent because nobody but us had the truth, and that meant we had to isolate ourselves from every other denomination out there, including other Baptists that weren't independent. And don't get me started on the other denominations. They were all the enemy. But no one held that status quite like the Catholics did. They were the whore of Babylon. I heard those words from the time I was just a little girl. If you come back for more of my story, you'll find out why. We were fundamental because we held to what we believed were the fundamentals of the faith, the absolute truths found in Holy Scriptures. But not just any version of the Scriptures. Ours was the only version of the Bible that could be trusted, the 1611 Authorized King James Bible. It was updated for readability in 1762, but we never talked much about that. We didn't call ourselves evangelicals until Jerry Falwell showed up on the geopolitical Baptist scene in the late 1970s to help Ronald Reagan get elected to the presidency in 1980. That's when James Kennedy, a Presbyterian of all things, came out of the mainline church closet to teach conservative Christians how to evangelize the world. A Presbyterian laid claim to the practice of winning souls for Christ with his Evangelism Explosion course. But after Ronald Reagan won the presidency in 1980 and Jerry Falwell became our great spiritual leader, evangelism became the word that every conservative Christian lived by. Independent Baptists and conservative Presbyterians were now walking hand in hand down an evangelical version of Lover's Lane. Would wonders never cease? These leaders and the markers I just named were the impetus for independent Baptists to begin seeing themselves as evangelicals. They don't own that word, but they think they do. So the evangelical, independent, fundamental Baptist church, or some other mix of those words, became our identity. I say our because I was still deeply entrenched in that church when this evolution began. That world shaped everything in my life, how I thought, what I believed, what I was allowed to question, and what I was taught to ignore. Those three descriptors that ushered in the word Baptist in our church name aren't just modifiers that define a particular organization. They are the heart and soul of the kind of Baptist church I grew up in. I lived inside that system for most of my life. And then, in 2010, I began to meditate. Secretly, of course. Because in the world I grew up in, meditation was a tool of the devil. I didn't realize it at the time, but that was the beginning of every single change that came after. It all ties back to meditation. What I've come to understand since then is that meditation doesn't just help you feel better, it actually changes your brain. The brain has this built-in ability to rewire itself. It's called neuroplasticity. And what happens is pretty simple when you break it down. Whatever you practice gets stronger. So, when you sit quietly and bring your attention back to this one single moment where calm lives, and you do that over and over again, You're strengthening the part of your mind that knows how to stay calm. And at the same time, the parts of your brain that are wired for fear and stress, they don't get used as much. So they start to settle down. It's like training a muscle. You're building something new while something else naturally loses its grip. That didn't happen overnight for me. It took time, a long time, really. But by 2018, I was able to walk away from the church and start a completely new life. That wasn't a small decision. It set off a chain of events that touched every part of my world. It changed everything. Over the years since then, I've been writing, slowly, carefully, going back, remembering, sorting through what was real and what wasn't, finding my own way of understanding what I lived through, and discovering secrets about my history and the family I grew up in that I would never have believed could be true. Some of the chapters I've written about that lifetime are ready now. Some are not. But there's enough to begin. And that's what I'm doing here. I'm beginning. What's happening in the sky in April 2026 is helping me understand why I'm choosing to do this now. From March 10th through April 20th, Saturn and Pluto are working together in a way that opens a window of opportunity, but it won't open all by itself. You have to lift it. You have to decide to move something from the inside of your life into the outside of your life. For me, this is that moment. I'm choosing to open that window, to let my voice be heard in a different way, to start sharing my story, one piece at a time. I'm not waiting until it's finished, and I'm not waiting until it's perfect. I'm opening that window now. So what you'll start to see on my blog are pieces of my story. I'll read parts of it on YouTube, and I'll post it here on my website in written form at thehealingriver.net. When I tell this story out loud, you'll hear my voice shift. That's the girl I used to be. She still lives in me. If you found your way here through my astrology work, then you already know I don't separate what's happening in the sky from what's happening in our lives. And this is me living that. So if something in your own life is ready to be spoken, shared, created, or acted on, you're not alone. We're in a time where it's possible to do something with it. Thank you for being here with me as I do something with it.